But we're beginning with rugby, and one rugby club in particular, because Ennis Rugby Club has launched what it describes as the most significant development project in its history, following the granting of planning permission for a major €2.5 million redevelopment of its facilities at Drumbiggle. The ambitious project will deliver a modern clubhouse and upgraded facilities and much more besides. Now, while the club has already secured €2 million in grant funding, it's now turning to members, former players, businesses and supporters to help raise the remaining money through its newly launched 100 Club campaign. So to tell us more about the vision for the project and the fundraising drive, I'm joined in studio by the Chairperson of Ennis Rugby Club, Richard Murphy, and on the line we have the Vice Chair, Brian Farrell, and a very good morning to both of you. Richard, this is exciting times for the club. We were just chatting off air saying that to you. It's the largest single investment in the history of the club. How significant a moment is this in terms of reaching this point, and also all going well, what it could potentially do for the club?
Well, it's massive for us. The opportunity to apply for this immigrant investor programme gave us an opportunity to apply for a tranche of money that we would just never raise under our own steam. So there was a lot of work put into applying for that, and we actually got into the programme the night before it was shut down by the government, so we cut it fine, but we got in.
Just about got in there. And you knew about the deadline, or did it just worked out that way?
We knew there was a lot of pressure coming on the government from Brussels, so we just worked hammer and tongs at it and got it in, and it was shut down the following morning. So we applied for €2 million. We received word last week that we are eligible for it. So the project now for us is to fundraise the match funding that we need. Well, not quite match funding, but we've to raise X amount of money to draw down the full €2 million.
Okay, so, but as I mentioned earlier, it's €2.5 million. So this has brought you significantly along that road.
Absolutely, yes. As I say, you'll be a long time selling lines trying to raise that kind of money. So,
yeah.
But like the genesis of it came when we were thinking about our centenary celebrations there in 2023. We could have been tipping along with the clubhouse as is, but with the explosion in the female rugby, the facilities just really weren't fit for purpose. So if the girls are coming to play, they need facilities that are suitable. So this gives us the opportunity to deliver that for them. So significant opportunity here.
Yeah, I mean, Brian, it sounds like a very, very exciting time, and I guess maybe the glee is even higher because, as Richard outlined, you got in there by a hair's breadth. He was talking about, obviously the women's team has meant that there's a need for upgraded facilities. For people maybe not familiar with the club, what is the setup like now, and what is it that you need to add and improve?
I suppose at the moment, just looking at the dressing rooms, we've four dressing rooms that aren't self-contained. So we've 4 dressing rooms and a common shower block. And the way it's laid out, you can't really have girls and boys using the areas at the same time, or you're leaving yourself open. People might go into the wrong dressing room or whatever, So what we're looking at is having 6 self-contained dressing rooms in the new facility, which would mean that showers and toilets and everything are in the one dressing room. So you can have boys and girls, men and women playing there, and they won't have any negative impact on the other, if that makes sense.
Okay, and
that's the biggest.
And what else is it that you're hoping to add? I mean, I mentioned it'll deliver a modern clubhouse, upgraded facilities. What kind of facilities will be upgraded?
So there'll be a new committee room, and there will be a larger gym area, and there'll be a multifunction area upstairs and outside the gym that can be used for circuit training, or it can be used by the wider community. And then downstairs we'll also have an extra area, again, kind of it's on the drawings, it's down as kind of as a coffee shop or a cafe, but again it's another meeting area, or it's another gathering area for teams before or after matches.
Okay, and I mentioned to you off air, Richard, as well, that I'd be familiar with the club play soccer there. It's a great setup in terms of the Astro pitches and all of that. But how long has this been going on? How long has the club been working towards this point? How long have you realised we need this, we need that, we need the other?
Well, this particular process started 3 years ago, so it's been a long, drawn-out affair. We had an opportunity to relocate to a site down the Kildysart Road, but by the time the QS had finished his calculations, it just became untenable, so we had to pass on that.
And would that have been a reluctant move? Because I often think you're in a quite nice spot there. You're kind of in off the road, secluded, but well located. People know where you are, and it's easy to get to.
Oh, absolutely, and there's a strong emotional attachment to the place. But we've 600 kids playing. There's 18 teams playing out of the one pitch. So we were looking at relocating down there, and it gives us an opportunity to develop 3 pitches. But as I said, the costs of it were such that there was a time where you would have built a small stadium for what it was coming in at. So we had to pass on it. So we've decided just to make the best of what we have.
Okay. Brian, when you learned that the grant funding had been approved, did it change the scale of what the club could achieve? Or were these always the plans of what you were hoping to do, or once you learned what you were getting, did you think actually this will allow us to do a little bit more, providing we can raise the extra $500,000?
We always envisaged that we'd get this pool of money. So I suppose we'd need this amount of money to do what we needed to do. So I suppose what this is just going to mean, instead of something going to take us 15 or 20 years, we might be able to get it done an awful lot quicker, hopefully 4 or 5 years, depending on how soon the money comes into us that we can spend it, Like as Richard said there, we're 18 teams working off one pitch, which is a massive load. We're lucky that we have the likes of Lees Road and other community pitches around that we lean on heavily. So yeah, we just need to really develop what we have, make the best use of what we have, and provide the best facilities for our members for decades to come, really, being honest with you.
And I can imagine, with 18 teams working out the logistics of slots for the various teams to use the pitch, but obviously with that many teams using the pitch, maintaining, keeping the surface in a respectable condition can be problematic at times. And then you add in the untrustworthy Irish weather, which will always play its part too to scupper your best laid plans.
Yeah, and in fairness, the weather's only getting worse as well. We're getting the more extremes, and it's hard to tell teams that they can't train on a certain night because of the amount of rain, or that it's been moved up to the Astros up in Lees Road or whatever, because it's contact sport and the teams want to be training on grass where possible. So yeah, look, you're right, the logistics of 18 teams, it's hard, but in fairness with this, we'll have a better surface. We're hoping to have maybe a hybrid surface on the pitch, which will allow more training and a quicker recovery.
Richard, you've spoken about this being a project not just for the rugby club but the wider Ennis community. So, what did you mean by that? How will the local people benefit? It'll obviously be brilliant for your teams of various age grades and the women's team and so on. But what will it mean for the wider community in the town? Well,
we're based in Ennis, but we're not an Ennis club. I think we have members coming from North Clare, West Clare. I think at last count, something like 45 villages and townlands around the county.
You're a Clare team, basically.
We are a Clare
based
team,
in
Ennis.
Yeah.
We are a Clare team based in Ennis. So the better the facilities, obviously the better for the members coming in and for the visitor experience. It's hard got when they come in the gate. So when they come in the gate, you got to try and retain them. And the better the facilities, the more likely they are to stay on.
I would imagine as well, particularly with younger people, and they're getting into various different sports, and there's so many for them to choose from hurling to soccer to like football, rugby, other sports as well, that having great facilities can play a major part in swaying them in a major direction towards one sport over another. Is that part of it as well, in terms of attracting the younger generation? That, not saying you want to be competing with local GA clubs, but just you want to make sure that you're competitive in terms of maintaining their interest in rugby and in staying with Ennis Rugby Club.
Well, absolutely. I think each generation expects to improve on what was there previously. So the other selfish motivation is I wanted someplace nice to sit when we were watching the matches. So that can't be discounted either. But certainly, I think, people have come to expect a certain standard of facility, and you've got to try and provide it as best you can within your means.
I wonder as well, thinking beyond rugby, Brian, whether the new facilities will allow or create opportunities for community groups and events outside rugby, allow you to host things that can potentially bring additional revenue into the club?
Probably could. Well, the bigger areas there can be used for, we'd say the cafe downstairs can be used for coffee mornings or whatever else like that. We're hoping to get a men's shed going as part of this development as well, and to try and bring back older and new members into the club through the men's shed, a kind of a social place to go during the day. There's also planning approved for 2 padel courts, which is the new thing. You're saying you're up there playing 5-a-side, so we're hopefully get new members in the gate as well to play padel as well. That will be used for more than just rugby and soccer. That we're trying to offer as much as we can to the wider community.
Yeah, Adele, that's all I hear my friends talk about. I barely have time to play soccer without trying to take on padel as well. Richard, tell us about the 100 Club, because there's still, it's brilliant. You got the grant funding of 2 million. There's still $500,000 left to raise, and you need local support to get this project over the line. And then part of this is the 100 Club campaign. What does that involve?
So we're looking for basically platinum sponsors to come on at $5,000 per sponsorship. So that can be paid in a lump sum or over a period of time. And we have started that process, and we've up on 180 odd grand committed so far. So we've a good start in it, but obviously there's a way to go yet. But that essentially is what the ask is of local business that may be interested, or even families. Yeah.
But that's impressive. My maths isn't great on the spot, but $5,000 to 180 grand. There's quite a few people or businesses that have committed money already.
There is, yes, and fair play to them, because, as I said, there was a lot of, I wouldn't say doubt, but we were
90.
It
took me a while to work it out there.
Good man, yeah. Maths on air, never a good thing. Yeah, so while the whole Kildysett Road project was in the offing, there was a little bit of doubt as to where exactly we were going. So that they actually committed was a kind of vote of confidence in what we were trying to do and what we were trying to deliver. So now that we have clarity on where we're at, I would hope more businesses would see fit to maybe come on board and support what we're trying to do.
And Brian, for someone, be it family or an individual or a business considering joining the 100 Club, what would you say to encourage them to get involved?
It's a great way to support a local club, but you do get a return. You do get a return from the club for it as well. And so we have if it's a business, they'll have pitch side hoarding included for 5 years. There's a life membership included. There's access to a draw for international tickets, and as well there'll be a wall or a plaque where all the platinum sponsors or the 100 Club sponsors will be listed on it as well. So it's a nice way to give back to a local community organisation.
And Richard, beyond the benefits offered, what does becoming a founding partner actually mean in terms of leaving a legacy at the club? In terms of leaving a legacy, well, they spoke once upon a time about cathedral building, where you would build something, but you were never going to see the benefit of it. It was generations down the line that were going to benefit most. Your kids, your grandkids, great-grandkids. So, the clubhouse as it stands at the moment was built in the late 70s. A lot of the guys that were involved in that have passed on, but
It served us greatly there for the last 45 odd years. So we're hoping when we build this, it's the same sort of idea that you're bequeathing something to future generations.
Okay. Well, and is there a timeline in terms of, raising this $500,000 or 320,000 as it is now, or?
There is. So we expect to receive a letter from the department, a formal letter stating that we're eligible for the 2 million. Once that comes, I think then when the first tranche of money is released, we have 90 days to come up with our portion. So it's a short and sharp timeline. So we have quite a bit of work to do.
That is a lot shorter than I was expecting you to say, to raise. You've done very well to get to 180k of $500,000 in a relatively short period of time, but that doesn't, 90 days to raise over 300 grand is still tough. Does that help focus the mind?
Well, it absolutely does help focus the mind. There's no time for slouching. We draw inspiration from the great Gerlach Nairn. We're going to do it.
I suppose, you have received brilliant support from the community in Ennis, Brian, and not just Ennis, as Richard says, you're really effectively a Clare club. You would imagine with these exciting plans and with getting the grant funding, people will realise how close you are to kind of realising those dreams. You would be hopeful that there will be plenty out there who be willing to help out and in whatever way they can.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and it's not just the 100 club. We launched a new draw this January as well for members at €25 a month, and that's actually exceeded our expectations so far as well. We're 5 months in, and we're nearly 200 people, 150, 200 people in that draw as well every month. So, and the support is there, and the success story of the club over the last couple of years has been great as well, between having former players represent Munster and Ireland, and then our women's team getting to the AIL. So there's a lot of good news stories coming out of the club, and look, this is just the most recent one that hopefully we'll get to completion sooner rather than later,
Well, hopefully having a chat with you, both of you gents on the show this morning, will help. And to finish, Richard, and to try and add a few more 5Ks to that 180, if anyone listening is interested in supporting the 100 Club campaign, how can they get involved?
How can they get involved? Well, they can email me for more information at chair@ennisrfc.ie, and if they have any queries, we're more than happy to answer them through that.
Okay, well, we wish you the very best with it. Great club and great facilities, and they could be even greater once you manage to achieve your financial goals. My thanks to the chairperson of Ennis Rugby Club, Richard Murphy. Richard, thank you very much, and the best with the plans. And thanks as well to the vice chair, Brian Farrell, for joining us on the line.